Welcome to the From the 108 podcast, starring the drunk uncles of White Sox Twitter. He's a Twitter-like whore, an Instagram thirst trap, and your grandma's guilty pleasure, Beef Loaf. A West Coast attitude in a decidedly Midwest body, My Sock Summer. And your host, he's sharing obscure music thoughts to give you time to hit the bathroom, Terezi E.
Thank you, Cornsey, and welcome to the From the 108 podcast. Get ready for some baseball, booze, and bullshit. And remember the drinking rules. If Beef Loaf says allegedly, or that he wrote a blog about that, you drink. If My Sock Summer mentions his time on the West Coast, or is just simply not paying attention, you drink. If I swear or say, here's the thing, you drink. And you can make any of us shut the fuck up for 5 whole minutes for $5 whole. Ooh. Or you can make all of us drink for $1.08, or you can just tip us because you love us. You know, that's always nice.
Feel the love, everyone.
Speaking of loving and drinking, fellas, what are you drinking? Beef, I'll start with you. What are you drinking tonight, buddy?
Baby, I got a little bit of red wine. I got it in the carafe tonight.
Oh,
and,
lovely.
You know, just relaxing here. Just last podcast of the year. Let's have a nice, relaxing time with some red wine.
Finishing it out.
Carafe.
He's a fancy boy. He's a fancy boy.
He is
That's what it is, baby.
Boy. That's true.
MSS, what are you drinking, buddy?
All right, cool. I'm starting off with the new Riff Single Barrel, which our friends, the Chicago Sports Bums, turned me on to. Head Bum in Charge. He's the one that said, "Hey, you got to try this." He brought in a flask to a game, and I drank all of it with him, and he was really hammered, and I was really, really hammered too, and it was great. But after that's over, I'm sticking with the classics. I'm gonna go just single bottle tonight. Single bottle, Buffalo Trace. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that bourbon. I gotta drink this down because as you saw online, I got 6 new bottles and I already had 32. So I'm getting close to 40, and I don't know if that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gordo.
Gordo. Thank you. Treasy, what are you drinking as you drink that down?
You know what? I think you know what I'm drinking because you gifted me this beautiful bottle today.
Which one did you keep?
I kept the Blanton's one. So this is Corazon Tequila, and it's a single barrel, and it's aged in Blanton bourbon barrels. It is fucking delicious.
Is it really?
I love it. Okay. I absolutely love it. We'll see if I can love it moderately for the show.
I'll show. I think you'll love it as the further we get into the show, the more you'll be loving it. Is my personal guess. I
can't have a love affair with this.
Yes,
that I normally would if we were on the Bums podcast instead of our own.
That's right. No one.
But I have to host. So I gotta
Look, did you like your bottle too, or no?
I did. Yeah, I haven't tasted it yet. So
okay,
I haven't gotten into it.
Are you intrigued by it?
Thank you. Absolutely. Yes, of course.
I told Terezi what happened, and I went to this new liquor store, and what I like to do, it's like tipping on the first round. You always do a big tip, right? I want to be remembered.
Yeah, you got to be remembered. Of course,
you got a big tip. I mean, that's
so I know. Yeah. So I brought it. I bought the biggest bottle of Buffalo Trace that they had. Like I got the big one, right? Like I was like, "How much is this?" And he's like, "Oh man, that's like $60." I was like, "Sold. I'm buying it. I'm a big man." You know, and he's like, "What else are you looking for?" And I was like, "I was looking for this." He's like, "I'm out of it." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And then I'm checking out. He's like, "Do you like tequila?" I go, "I don't, but I know 2 guys that do, especially one." And I was like, "Here we go." So he goes, "I got this," and he pulls out that bottle, both those bottles, and he goes, "This one was aged in, a Blanton barrel, and this one was aged in a Weller's barrel." And I was like, "Awesome." I go, give me this one," and he takes the other one and puts the other one back. I go, "Oh no, give me that one too. Give me both of them. I'm gonna buy both of them." And it was like a total impulse purchase, but I also was like,
I love it, man.
This guy's gonna remember me every time I go in there. And they did one of the smartest things ever. It's on 50th in Halstead. When you walk in, they have free tastings. So they shot me with their the first thing I had when I walked in.
I just imagine MSS with his kids sitting there just hammering down.
No, I was by myself.
Which one of you can drive?
Which one of you can reach the pedal? I walk in and they gave me the 9-year their single barrel pick of Knob Creek. Like they gave me like a healthy pour, and I was like, oh God, I got to drive, and it's starting to snow. Like this isn't good. But I'm gonna take this anyway. So it's a very smart move. If you own a liquor store, give somebody liquor when they walk right in, and then they will buy more. That's good. Good idea.
Smart.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Jared, for
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate the drink. Delicious.
The ice caught me, and I just drank a lot of tequila.
That a boy.
The love affair is starting right away.
Not necessarily. Team effort there, Brian. You don't always pick the taller one to drive. It's a team effort there.
Oh man,
I love
Sal,
it. I love it.
You know what?
I hope you had a
Merry Christmas, and you're going. This is the last podcast of the year. I can only say it once. Go fuck yourself, Sal. I love you.
Oh, wonderful.
Why can you only say it once? Get it out there.
Speaking of Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Beef, how you doing, man? How was your past weekend?
I'm good. I want to get to two quick comments. They're tied together. White Sox Sal says, did Beefloaf weigh his fat ass today? That's number one. And number two, Dougie Fresh says, Beef, how's the beehole post slider? So, yes, I did weigh myself this morning. A horrendous weigh-in. I'm up 5 pounds from last week. And everyone told me, just exercise. And I played basketball 3 times this week when I was down in Austin, which I'll get to that in a second. And that didn't help out at all. I had those sliders with me. I ate them at midnight last night, and I just got rid of them right before this podcast. I thought I was going to have to take a big greasy shit during this podcast, which I think I'm the big greasy shit leader during our podcast. I've taken 4 big greasy shits during the 108 podcast in my lifetime. It's like 160-something episodes. I'm up at 4. I think Treasy's probably at 0. MSS, you had to have had 1, maybe 1.5 in your pants. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure you're right with me, but not quite. So I think I was a little worried about it. I got to be honest with you guys.
Cheers, Yump.
I'm so worried.
Trezo, thanks for asking. I was out of town, obviously, for the holiday. Now, originally, we were going to fly on Friday, but then there was a big storm, the polar vortex, and there's going to be this big snowstorm. So my familia, my daughter's idea, actually, we proactively booked a new flight for Sunday, Christmas morning. So we got up early. We're going to do that flight. So we may have been able to get out Friday. I didn't go back and double check. My wife said that the flight that we were supposed to be on was delayed like 5 hours, the Friday flight. The Sunday, we get there, go to the airport, and I noticed right when we walk in, now, Trees, we like to park.
We got a couple to catch up on here, but we got to get to this one first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yep.
Shane Spagnola is muting MSS for 5 minutes.
Extra $5 in your pocket there, Irish Shane. Thanks, Shane.
Appreciate that, Shane.
Cheers, Shane. And we will get to these other drinks, I promise you. But we got to mute MSS.
Let's absolutely do it. Shall I continue, Teresi?
Go on, my friend.
Pontificate. So we get to the airport Sunday morning, and, we like to drive. I park my car there, and we take the little shuttle, and we come up there. When we come through where baggage claim is at, I noticed that by Carousel 8, there are probably 200 bags sitting there. This is Sunday morning, okay?
I've seen these pictures. This is
the calm before the storm, though. We don't know anything's going on. So we're like, that's a lot of bags. I'm like, well, they must have got a flight redirected, whatever. So then we get up there for our flight. We're waiting on our plane. Our plane's on the ground, but they're trying to load the shit out of the plane in front of us that's going to D.C., right? And then it makes sense, okay? Christmas, make sure no one misses the Christmas flight. Finally takes off or whatever. We're about 40 minutes late because of this. We all get on the plane, and we sit on the plane for another 20 minutes because they said they're loading extra bags onto the plane. Now, at this point, I have no idea why that would be the case on a Sunday morning. We're like, okay.
Obviously strange.
That's curious, but I don't care. So we fly, whatever, we get to Austin. We're hanging out there. Next thing you know, we're looking kind of later on Christmas Day after the meal and everything. It's like, man, everything's going haywire at Southwest. It's like, oh, all those bags were flying there because they're just trying to fly them somewhere closer to where they might supposedly supposed to be. I looked on Monday, and there was a picture of the Austin airport that I was just at the day before, and there was a sea of fucking bags every goddamn where. It's like, I don't have any idea what they're doing. We didn't kind of know what was going on there. So we get to Tuesday, and I'm flying Wednesday now. So I'm flying last night out here. And everyone on Twitter is like, you ain't going nowhere. None of this, right? And I'm just kind of hopeful. You know how I am? I'm a positive guy. I'm a glass half full motherfucker. I always have been my entire life. I'm like, maybe it'll work out. And more shit is coming out about how the software at Southwest crashed and they canceled thousands and thousands of flights and all this stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't know. So I'm talking to Mrs. Beef. I'm like, what do you think? She's like, just stick with it and see if it happens, you know. And then I'm sitting there Wednesday. The flight gets delayed an hour. So I'm like, oh shit, it's starting right now. But then it stops. So it's like, okay, time to go to the airport. We go. And Mrs. Beef goes to drop. She's driving me and she's like, you think we should have gone earlier? I said, no one's going to be at the airport. They don't, none of the flights are moving. I shit you not, Treasy. I got in the security line. I was the only person in the security, like legitimately one of one. Someone came behind me and then there was two of us in the security line and that was it. There was no one there, like legitimately no one there. You get through security and it's fucking empty in there too. And I'm like, man, is this really going to happen? I thought, okay, I'll probably hang out at the airport, live blog this, and it'll be a total disaster. And nothing happened. My flight was delayed like an hour. I got on my flight and I got home. So am I the luckiest fucking man in America? Am I the luckiest man that I hit both sides of the flights and nothing? My travels were not delayed at all.
I'm the luckiest man in America because I just got to listen to a 3-minute story where nothing happened.
Absolutely nothing happened. Zero things happened in the story.
I'm like, man, you know, are you going to fall on your ass or something? Is something going to happen? No, nothing happened. This is basically the Kramer story where he's like, and the pants fit fine, and I decided to keep them. Let's get some drinks in here.
That's what happened.
Brian, I had you up on the screen, but we didn't get to have the drink. Cheers, my friend. Thank you.
Brian, bless you.
You got one from Marge, too.
Oh, thank you, Marge.
Cheers, Marge.
Appreciate you. Ooh, yum.
All right, so, but, you know, like, the funny thing is, Beef, I was... When that all kind of went down, I thought to myself, like, I wonder if they had like a server crash or something, and thought that shit they'll just restart the server and it'll be fine. Like they must have lost like a shitload of data. Like something had to go like really wrong. Like because like it's weird because like your flight went out, right?
Yeah, my flight went out, no problem.
But like all the ones in between, like those few days, like where things were fucked up, they're like, we can book you in like 600 days. Good luck.
Yeah, I saw people saying, "Oh, but yeah, my flight was supposed to be on Tuesday. We're booked for January 2nd." It's like, what the fuck? Why you got to wait a week for this shit? You know? And they did the total PR thing, Treasy. You get on the plane. The pilot was out there handing out the fucking snacks when you walked up to get in the plane. It's like they're trying to get your sympathy, and then the flight attendant just gave you the cheer, the teary, like, oh, I've worked for this company for 20 years and we strive and we feel you and all this stuff. Oh. And I was like, man, I feel bad for these people.
Let me ask the real question here. Drinks were free?
They were. I didn't have one.
Okay.
I didn't have one because I was driving when I got back. So I was like, I didn't have one. But yeah, I could have gotten a free drink on the flight. Yeah.
That's
all that matters.
I'm just saying, like, it would have been insincere if they weren't given if the pilot handed out snacks, great. But like it doesn't make the snack any fucking better that it came from the pilot, right?
This is the part of the story I don't like. Because you could have had a free drink and you're like, no, I had to drive. Because I've never been in a car with you after you've had one drink. Like, it's never happened. Like, you've never had a drink and then 2 hours later driven a car. Like, you've never done that.
I don't know. I just don't, when I had a couple drinks at the airport. I had a couple glasses of wine. I didn't want to add another one. I didn't want to have a third drink.
I will say, in Beef's defense, he sent us a picture of himself from the plane. He looked like absolute shit, so he probably didn't need it.
Like old as hell, horrible.
I shit you not, for those of you listening, so Beef sends us a picture just to show that he got on the. I should have saved it up with it, but he sends us a picture that he's on the plane, and our buddy Polish is just like, Chirizi, save that picture because for once that motherfucker looks older than you.
It was the lighting. He was like in that fluorescent lighting, and it's like the shadows on that schnoz. Not
so they're not forgiving. I just look tired. I look tired. I don't have as much gray as you. I'm not a silver fox, but you're right. I just looked real tired on that picture. No, there's no doubt about it. I don't know. There's something fun about getting handed like a bag of peanuts and pretzels from the pilot. Like, it's kind of demeaning to them a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed that. I don't know. Maybe there's something wrong with me that I enjoyed that part of it. But
so it's just weird to me. It's like, you know what? I want you focused on something else.
That's true. Not trying to make
customer
amends
service
for your, like if bad the bad programming.
if like the manager of a baseball team was handing out peanuts at the gate or helping to hand out the bobbleheads, I'd be like, could you go do the job you're supposed to do?
Don't give the Sox any ideas, okay?
He did have a nice
over there at Gate 5 getting pelted by like frozen water bottles during like Luis Robert talking bobblehead day. That's going to be horrible.
No, it's true, sorry. He did have a nice hot landing coming into Midway though, Treasy.
Oh,
it was
my
real
God.
bouncy like at the bottom, and then we came in real hot. Like it's the only airport where you feel like, yes, I'm justified wearing my seatbelt right now because I'd go flying out of this seat if otherwise.
There's when you're like after you've flown into Midway as many times as we have, you could tell. Like when it's coming in hot, you're like, this guy has not flown here before. He's
really going.
He doesn't realize
right
that.
now.
I mean, like every time I'm landing there, it is basically the scene from fucking Die Hard 2, where they like move the line and they're like, just go into the ground as hard as possible. You got 4 feet before the wall.
Always make it.
Beef, did you have another really long story you wanted to tell us, or can we move on?
That was it. I just want to let you guys know that I flew Southwest and survived. A lot of people are saying they didn't. I'm one of the lucky ones who made it. That's all.
I had a great. I had one comment though. Loth that considers himself a half full kind of glass half full kind of person.
Yeah.
Every time I propose that we have a guest and I'm going to contact the guest, immediately he says they're going to say no. Like he never says, hey, maybe they'll say yes. He always says they're going to say no. So I don't think that's very glass half full, but that's okay. So
what I got to pump your tires even when you have some unlikely bullshit. You know, occasionally happens.
He's just rooting for that.
I want it to happen.
It's glass half full for him. He's like, I don't want to talk to this.
No. I want the people to come on. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like if I were betting money, I'd bet against it. But I want it to happen. That's one of my tests. You know?
Oh, I know.
Now that you could speak to us, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you, Shane, for your Irish blessing of $5, to keep me quiet for a while. Now, I was out earlier today, and I ran into a White Sox Twitter member, Steve Kniss. He was at my thrift store, in Southside Dale, or Party Tape Dale's. All
right. MSF, shut up. We're cutting you off right now.
Shut me off. Let's not waste this guy's time.
We're going to stop everything because
all right.
Speaking of guests that we did not think would say yes.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're gonna cut this in right now. We're not gonna do anything. I'll just quickly introduce this guy and we'll get him in. This is a guy I can't believe he's joining us. You know him from breaking news on ESPN and breaking Beef Loaf Spirits on Twitter.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Jeff Passan. How you doing, Jeff?
Boys, you really didn't think I would show up?
No, I didn't. I was worried, Jeff. We had a lot of conversation back and forth, and then you went dark on me. I'm like, all right, I don't know if Jeff's going to make it, but I'm sending him the StreamYard either way, and we'll hope and pray. And the boys are like, and as the hours went by, I'm like, 20% Jeff shows, and before the show, I'm like 4% Jeff shows up. Man, you beat it. Bless you.
There's
so
nothing I enjoy more than surprising you, man. Let me tell you.
What's not surprising is how easily you can take down that asthmatic asshole right away. This guy, you can take him down in a heartbeat. Like not even things that are like I could tweet the same thing and it would not get the response. Like when you tweet them, it is just great. People like you. So thank you for tonight. Doing that. Yeah.
It is the most, to my friends, like who I grew up with, it's the most shocking part of my life. They're like, when did people start liking you? How did this happen? And I was like, you know what? All those years of taking your abuse and just wearing it, it was like an education. I felt like, I was in a movie and was under a master who was teaching me the dark arts of fucking people up. And you have to be very careful. Here's the thing. The only reason I do it to you the way I do is one, because look at you, but two, because I know you can take it too.
That's true. That's true.
No, it's like being able to laugh at yourself is a genuinely wonderful quality have for a really long time. I took myself way too seriously. And when you do that, your friends know that it pisses you off, so they go and do it even more. And it took until I was in my 30s and even 40s now to figure out, like, if you get owned, just wear it, because there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing at all. And you have worn it like a champion, and I give you credit for that.
Thank you. MSS, you notice something about the way Jeff comes at me, though? He doesn't go with the low-hanging fruit. He never goes schnoz.
No.
And you always go schnoz. That's why yours don't do as well. He goes around the most obvious thing.
I'm Jewish. I know better than to go schnoz.
Jeff, I'm proud of my nose, and that's why it doesn't hurt me even when he goes at me. I love it. It's a signature of the Beef Loaf look. I can't help it.
It is.
Yeah, no, listen.
And Gonzo's.
We can't help what we're born with. Right.
That's right.
So you might as well appreciate all the things about yourself, because if somebody else doesn't, they just have poor taste.
I love that this is somehow spun around to be like our normal show where we're just talking shit to my sock summer.
It didn't miss a beat. It just stayed right on course.
Jeff, I want to make sure. I don't know. Am I still on? Because I'm.
You're still on. I haven't muted
still on. Yeah.
I want to make sure you know I am the one that sends you all the free merch that you clothe your kids in.
It's awesome.
So you
it's
know
awesome. No,
that.
It's not my kids. We were in. We go to
Naperville.
Loaf. We go to Naperville every year for Christmas. My in-laws live there.
Oh, dang.
Okay.
Yeah, and my wife showed up at Midway this year wearing her 108 hat. Like she likes all colors. She loves the hats. So thank you for that. Genuinely.
You're welcome. Is she a Cubs fan? She is probably, right?
Nah, she's from Kansas City. So yeah. So
what's
she
the Naperville?
My sister-in-law and brother. Her brother lives.
Oh,
there.
Okay.
Yes. So
are they Cubs?
And
fans?
They're Bears fans. Yeah, they're not as much into baseball which is I found is a wonderful thing, because when I run into people who are all about baseball, take a guess what they want to talk about. It's kind of nice not being surrounded by people who want to talk about baseball all day. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, before you go too far on that, we did want to ask you, because we wanted to have you on last week's show, which was the Festivus show, which is the airing of grievances, and we couldn't work it out. And luckily we were able to get you this week, which is awesome. But hey, did you have a grievance that you wanted to give to us?
One of them actually grew in Chicago. I got in on the 23rd, which was, the 22nd, which was like the day the snow fell. Mm-hmm. People don't know how to drive in snow. Honestly, what is your problem, person who does not know how to drive in snow? Are you scared because it's a little bit slick on the road? Or are you just a bad driver and shouldn't be licensed? I feel like if you need to take a driving test in snow in order to be licensed in states where it snows. And if you live in a place like Texas, where it's the worst, actually, like if you've ever been in Dallas in a snowstorm, hell, a rainstorm, the whole place shuts down. I just wish people were better drivers. But my real grievance is the hate that I get for preferring red vines over Twizzlers. Let me tell you something. If I wanted to go chew on wax, I'd just chew on wax. Instead, people do it and pay for the pleasure with Twizzlers. Red vines are soft, they are supple, they are sweet. They are the far superior faux licorice product. And anyone who tries to tell me that I'm the idiot for enjoying red vines is really the one whose laugh is on him or her. So thank you.
I would love red vines to use that tagline. It's the best faux licorice on the market.
Jeff, how much ownership share in red vines do you have right now? I'm just curious. The way you delivered that, I just felt like 20% maybe.
Well, our producer on Baseball Tonight, Greg Colley, gave me like genuine amounts of grief for this. And then at the winter meetings this year, I didn't realize this, but apparently Red Vines is a California based company. Yeah. And at the winter meetings this year in the Manchester Grand Hyatt, where I don't eat during the winter meetings really. I'm just no, seriously,
I'm caffeine and that's it.
I'm a Diet Mountain Dew and water. I'm just running around all day and just really don't have time. But there's this little shop at the front of the hotel, and they sold red vines in there. And let me
Oh,
tell you,
man.
I crushed those red vines like it was nobody's business. Oh, they were so delicious, and it just reinforced my feeling about this. It's a genuine topic of passion for me.
Oh man, we need to get
The
this
only calories you
endorsement.
have.
This endorsement deal has to happen.
That's right. There's no question about it.
What was the song
think
back then with that
here's
crazy
the thing,
delicious?
as I reveal more about the things that I like to ingest, like what sort of loser loves red vines and Diet Mountain Dew? Like, who am I? What have I become?
I would assume you were a gamer. I would assume like you're.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He's been playing Call of Duty for 15 hours now. He's on his third bag of red vines.
He's tweaking on vines and dew.
Man,
So-
I was just looking up that red vines crazy delicious line that was in my head, and I'm like,
Mr.
why
Pibb
is
and
this
red
in my
vines
head?
equals crazy delicious.
Yes. So no Mr. Pibb though. It's Diet Mountain Dew because you got to
Yes,
watch
and-
your figure.
Yeah, well,
You're on
I'm getting
TV.
older. I'm getting-
Yeah, you're on TV.
Yeah, and you're on TV. You got to keep you can't grow a beard like us to hide our fatness. This is the fat guy repellent. You put the beard on, and then you're set. You know.
Yeah, the beard covers up so many chins.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
That's right.
I would.
Yep.
You know what? Here's the thing. I might actually grow facial hair if I could, but you'll see this. Like I'm still patchy.
Oh, you got the patchiness?
Oh, yeah.
I got the
Yeah, I see
hole
that.
right there. I can't connect right there. Like it's a real problem. And I was under the assumption that it was just going to be, okay, you're in your early 20s and it does not come. Like if you can't connect when you're in your 20s, not connecting when you're in your 40s, buddy. Sorry to
Like
say.
the ear hair is the next thing you'll be able to. You'll just have to comb that through to try to fill it out. I think it'll be the next thing.
With your
Big
job at
wispy
ESPN, you
wet.
probably have access to some athletes like maybe LeBron James or Carlos Boozer who could probably get you something to paint that in and just fill it in real nice.
That's right.
The reason it's not an unreasonable point. Not unreasonable at all. I do not. Here's the thing. I do not bemoan another man's hairline. What he does to make himself feel okay, I'm all good with. Look, I found out when I was in my mid-20s, and I had just met my wife, and she had gotten sick. And, I was doing the dutiful thing you do early on in courtship of trying to be like thoughtful and kind. I was holding back her hair. Food poisoning sucks. And the whole episode afterward, I was just like, and I take some water and I splash it on my face and run it through my hair. And as I'm looking up, I start to see some little patches, some little spots up there. And I'm like, with my ears, I would be a horrendously ugly bald person. Like terribly disgusting.
We could take a look.
There's a look into your future right there.
Honestly, the fact that you guys have that ready like that.
We have this
Oh,
one ready.
easy there.
But
It's different in the cold
Professional
tub.
organization, Jeff. I mean, I have Photoshop that I stole 10 years ago that I make those graphics with. So this,
Honestly, good
trust
for
me.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real high dollar operation there.
Here it comes again. See? I mean,
when
it would
I saw-
rush-
when
would
I
brush
saw-
off into somebody else.
When I saw the patches on top of my head, I'm like, I got to do something about it. And so I've been on PEDs to keep the hair in place
Yes.
for a while.
I like it.
I have like the color totally natural. Have never
Okay.
dyed my hair except when I got frosted tips in my early 20s because
Boy.
I was
You and me both.
No, I was-
I had streaks
admittedly-
in my hair.
I had a
Sunday.
friend who was trying to date a hairdresser, and there was a hair show, and she needed models for it. And so I got frosted tips in front,
Sad.
except my hair is dark, and so they turned gold. Like it was not a great look.
This is the you only went to the Hootie and Blowfish concert because you had the free ticket.
That is right. That's
that was
what we're
right now.
getting right now. We're getting right now.
My buddy was trying to hook up with Hootie, so I had to go.
So I had to go.
No, it's funny. You mentioned hairdressers, and I've dated a lot of girls in a lot of different professions. I'm happily
Oh.
married now, and that's
Yeah,
it.
sure.
But hairdressers are the
That sounded
craziest
horrible.
group. Like, craziest group.
Sure, Jam.
They are if you want to party with some fun chicks, you party with the Omega Moose first, but then hairdressers are definitely number 2. Like the number 2.
I had a hairdresser girlfriend in Fresno where I had my first job. She was like fun crew, good times.
Yeah, it's crazy. I agree. See, me and Jeff know each other on a different level now. We're like,
I mean, I'm not sitting here bragging about all the different women.
Oh, no.
In different professions.
No, that's what he does all the time.
well,
Jeff, in his defense,
women of all professions are a good time. It's like the opposite sex is great, and we're not gonna sit here and suggest that hairdressers are anything that they might not want to be. Right.
Yes. Before MSS starts talking about dating women in the oldest profession, we'll get maybe into a little bit White Sox talk here. It's typically what we do, and it typically looks a lot like that explosion that I just put up on the screen.
Yep.
But Jeff, you cover all of these things, and so of course you saw all the recent news with the Sox. So we're going to go through some of it with you and just kind of get your take on it, your personal take on it, as opposed to just kind of letting us know the details of what happened. But the first one we want to talk about is what your thoughts on Pedro Grifol and that hiring.
I think the White Sox clubhouse is a very interesting place to inherit because you're in a clubhouse that I'm not going to say has been rudderless for 2 years, but has not, Tony La Russa and what he did, it was just not like what other managers around baseball do. Like Tony La Russa was way, way ahead of the curve 30, 40 years ago, and he wasn't there this time. And so I think having a manager who you could see being there for the next decade, if everything goes well, I just think it imparts a different sort of, not confidence in players, but just willingness to get to know the guy and know him on a level where you're going to trust him. And that's all players want in their manager. They want someone who they can trust. And Pedro Grifol's greatest quality in Kansas City, where I've lived for the last, almost 15 years now, is he was an extremely well-liked guy who was competent as well. And when you can take those two things, the social intelligence and the emotional intelligence that comes with being a person who's well liked, as well as the intelligence of just knowing ball, you got a chance. And I honestly, it's interesting sometimes to hear White Sox fans talk about their team because it's just so negative and so dire and the sky is falling. I just keep looking at and listen, maybe I'm falling prey to the same thing that I did this past year when I said the White Sox are going to win the World Series. Oops. But
old takes exposed.
I look at the roster, and I just think there's a lot of good baseball players on this team. And I look at the payroll, and it's $60+ million higher than any other team in the division, which is something most people don't realize. And I'm not going to sit here and call the White Sox extravagant, but their CBT payroll is over $200 million this year. They're not. I don't think they're being cheap. Let's put it that way. And aside from second base, are there any clear holes that you guys see?
So I think the things that you'd look at and you'd be concerned with, their right field, because you're gonna play someone who's unproven rookie.
Yeah, fine. Sometimes, like you have to do that sometimes. Not everybody. Is Oscar Colas ready? Maybe, maybe not. But if everyone else performs in the lineup the way that they should, is having Gavin Sheets in right field the worst thing in the world? No, he's like a slightly below league average hitter, and he's going to hit you big home runs sometimes, and he's going to get on base 30% of the time, and that's just who he is. But if everyone else in the lineup is performing the way that they're supposed to, you can live with a guy like that, which is why I look at Colas in right field and say, okay, give the kid a chance. And frankly, there's not much out there on the free agent market anyway that's going to help. Like second base is an issue.
Right.
Second
Yeah,
base,
there's no top prospect moving up there. They're shuffling around kind of prospect depth and saying, okay, maybe we'll try these guys there, or they'll end up wedging Lurie Garcia back in there, which is not something I think anyone really wants.
Yeah. Second base is the sort of thing. It's why, like, I don't know how the Joel Sherman trade proposition was received in White Sox land, but if you're gonna move Liam Hendricks, that's what you move him for. Like, you fill a hole that is clearly there. And he's in Torres, by the way, Gleyber Torres is not the only one who can fit in that spot. I mean, the Marlins at the same time have quite a few middle infielders. They're also looking for a bat, though. So, you know, would you send a prospect? When you don't have many, you also don't have many to ship out.
Well, me and Beef, we do a series of blogs every year where we trade with every team, right? We come up with a different trade for every team. And yeah, you quickly realize that it's like there's 2 or 3 guys that the rest of the teams would want from the entire minor league system, right? And then the other things, you're moving around money or you're moving around major leaguers. And that makes that really difficult. But that is something that Rick Hahn has said, is that he expected the trade market to be more fruitful than the free agent market. Do you think that the Sox will still make a trade in this offseason? And a meaningful one, not a Jake Diekman for, the guy that they caught in the parking lot.
Guy in the parking lot was impressive, though.
I didn't get to actually see it, but yeah, I believe
you. My instinct is no, but I have zero confidence in that, because I fully acknowledge that all it takes to execute a trade is one team coming to terms on stuff that you've already discussed. And, it's not a one-sided thing. It's not the White Sox going out there and saying, we're going to make – that's how bad organizations are run. If it's we're going to make a trade. No, it's when opportunity presents itself. And I think there are enough opportunities out there among Torres, among the Marlins guys, maybe Cardinals guys, to go out and potentially get somebody to play second base. Maybe this also is something that you wait to see how this team is and address it at the deadline, possibly, when you'll have another draft worth of players, when you'll have guys who hopefully have stood out in the first half in the minor leagues, and the depth of your system is such that the only guy teams want is Colson Montgomery, and you're not going to move him. There's just not a whole lot more there right now. The White Sox are bound to have better players, I'd have to think, after the first few months. And you may just match up better with teams at that point when you also have that other data point on how good this team actually is. And I don't think that's an unfair approach to take. Is it conservative? Yeah, it is. And there's certainly a fair argument to be made that conservatism when you're in the middle of your window is a bunch of horseshit.
Right. Right. You can't sit around and wait for aces and kings the whole time. To use a poker metaphor, you've got to play aggressively, usually.
Listen, I get that. And the clock is ticking on it. But at the same time, you also don't want to go in on a window that's broken. And the possibility, I never thought I would say this last year or the year before, the possibility that the White Sox window isn't going to turn out like they hoped or thought it was going to be is a lot more realistic now after a season like last year than I think any of us would have thought it.
For sure.
This was supposed to be the time. And it's time for Luis Robert to show up and play a whole season. It's time for Eloy Jimenez to stay healthy. And it's time for Tim Anderson to play 155 games. And it's time for Yohan Moncada to stop looking like a AAA player. And it's time for Michael Kopech to go out there and show he can throw a full season. It's time for Lucas Giolito to be the guy that we've seen before. And it's time for Dylan Cease to win the Cy Young. I just named 40% of the roster right there, all of whom have areas in which they can improve. That's why I'm bullish on the White Sox still.
Yeah.
That's why I can't sit back and say that this is a team that's just disappointment and clouds with lightning bolts coming out of them and gloomy skies and bad food and Twizzlers. Like, that's not what the White Sox necessarily are. But the fact that I have to say that about all of these guys, to me, illustrates that it's not as sure a thing as any of us would have thought it was. And
No.
that is the part why I understand why White Sox fans are as down as they are at the moment.
Yeah, it's more like that big same game parlay that you put in the morning, and it's like, hey, this could win me $10,000 for $5 or nothing. And so like you're kind of in that spot as a Sox fan. And I think to follow up on the trade question, you know, is the smoke around Liam Hendriks real? Are there a lot of teams interested, or is this more like, you know, people like the four of us in our various levels of baseball media making these things up, like kind of like thinking of like what could happen, as opposed to like there are actually teams sniffing around or there's discussions going on?
I mean, the way it's been described to me is that the White Sox are not shopping Liam Hendriks. They're not actively trying to move Liam Hendriks. They will listen on Liam Hendriks, because if you don't listen on somebody like that, you're an idiot. And I don't think that any discussions have evolved to the point where, at least not to my knowledge, and you know, there's a lot that I don't know. It's my knowledge the discussions haven't evolved to the point where a deal is going to be imminent. But let's look at all of those guys who we mentioned earlier, and the fact that all of them have areas in which they can improve. And that tells you that if the White Sox were to move any of them, they would probably be selling at a discount compared to what they believe the guys are actually worth. Liam Hendriks, on the other hand, has been the best closer in baseball, you know, for the last 3 years in aggregate. He's shown few, if any, signs of regression. I mean, you can.
And Kenley Jansen just got more money than him.
Yeah.
So you know the contract is got a lot of extra EV in there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got what, a 5.5, 6 to 1 strikeout to walk ratio. The FIP is lower than the ERA. The heater is still huge. Like there's just nothing there that says to you that Liam Hendriks, in terms of the quality of his stuff, is going anywhere. So yeah, that's specifically and precisely the guy who other teams are going to target. It's as sure of a thing as you can get in the relief market. And remember, relief pitching is a notoriously volatile area. And so the idea that you can get someone who you really believe when he goes out there every night is going to get the save for you, and when he blows a save, you feel like you've been kicked in the nuts because Liam Hendriks doesn't blow saves.
It's true.
That's a guy who if you have championship aspirations, you want to acquire. On the other hand, you can make the argument, well, if you're the White Sox and you have championship aspirations, why isn't that a guy you want to keep? And I think the answer is because Graveman, Bummer, Lopez, Diekman, Kelly, Crochet, like Ruiz, that's a good group of relief pitchers you've got right there. And if you can trade from an area of depth, not just an area of depth, but an area where it's a guy who's throwing 60 innings out of the, you know, how many are you going to throw in a year? 1,500? Yeah. Like, I mean, clearly, I think that it makes sense. If you can get an everyday guy, you trade a closer.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
It definitely makes sense to me. You know, something you mentioned a little bit earlier was around them being conservative in the trade market, being conservative in the offseason. Did you think that the Sox were probably going to take a bigger swing than they did in free agency? You know, Benintendi being like the biggest thing that they've done. Did you kind of have the feeling going into the offseason that they might go after someone bigger than that?
I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. Are you asking me if the Chicago White Sox are going to spend large amounts of money in free agency?
As a fan, Jeff, season ticket holder for a lot of years.
So you can take it 2 ways. You can take it as, are they going to, or should they have?
Our GM promised us it was going to be different this time, even though we all knew Jerry Reinsdorf's still the owner, Jeff. That's what we're just trying to see what everyone else thinks besides us.
Dreams, I said this. I said this on Waddle and Sylvie. The White Sox are what the Mets used to be. They're the team that's in the big city that has an owner who doesn't want to spend what big city teams spend. I mean, listen, we can talk all we want about the White Sox going out, and $75 million is nothing to, you can't just brush that off. $75 million is a real investment in a guy. But the Cubs may well suck this year and have a higher payroll than the White Sox.
Yeah.
Like the Cubs are trying to patchwork a team together through free agency, and the Cubs have a core. The Cubs are trying to patchwork a team together, and the White Sox have a core around whom they're building. And the whole idea, when you have a core around whom you're building, is to supplement it in free agency. The whole beauty of young players who are either in arbitration or locked up to club-friendly deals is that you get to take the savings and put it into other players. And the White Sox, the way that the White Sox have done this is like a bootleg version of how the Braves are doing it. Like it's the closest. The closest analog to it, because they really. I mean, some of the contracts that the White Sox have signed guys to are incredible. The Sale deal was phenomenal. The Adam Meaton deal had huge EV on it. Look, I understand that with Aloy and with Robert, they pay. It wasn't the crazy discount like it was with Sale in particular, but again, those are contracts that in the end, you think the surplus value is going to be enormous on them, and so what have they done with that surplus? Nothing, like nothing. And listen, if they had won last year, things would be a lot different. I think Tony La Russa probably would be back, but if they had won last year, I think they would have spent more this offseason. And take yourself out of your fan clothing for a second, except for you, Beef. Please never take yourself out of clothing.
I'm sometimes shirtless on this show, Jeff. I apologize. You're not getting that show today. Maybe I'll send you a picture.
It's really sincere. If you own an entity that you expected to do something, it didn't meet those expectations, how much more would you want to invest in it?
Right. It's very difficult to throw money at a problem as opposed to go like we might need to just restart and think about this model.
I'm not sitting here saying Jerry Reinsdorf should spend more money. He's in Chicago. Like Chicago is Chicago. Act like it. But at the same time, I also try to understand the human emotions that go into this, because I don't think that people are just inherently cheap with things like baseball teams, with a few exceptions. And I look at the White Sox right now, and if I own the White Sox, I would ask myself, am I investing into a lemon? Am I investing into something? Am I putting money into a car that's just going to crap out again? And at very least, that gives you pause. Who would you have wanted? Like, who was the number one guy White Sox fans wanted them to go sign this offseason?
So that's an interesting question, because it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I think most of the answers are in the outfield. Like you wanted to get a top outfielder off the board, but I don't know that Aaron Judge was ever even an option. So you got to look at the rung below.
It's a big step down next. No, it's a big step down after that. But people, even after the Benintendi signing, were like, well, let's pad it and let's go take a gamble on Michael Conforto, and people would have been elated in Chicago. I'm not one of them, but they would have been elated if Gene Segura was on the roster.
Yeah,
that would have been like a happy thing. Yeah, in the comments, Brandon Nimmo was a big name that a lot of people liked here. I wasn't a huge fan of Nimmo, but again, he kind of fits the roster in a way that where he can play center field if need be. He's a plus defender, gets on base a lot. The White Sox lacked power last year, and other than Judge, there weren't those big corner hitting power
By the way,
guys.
You just described Andrew Benintendi.
Oh yeah, he's
a left-handed hitter who gets
Nimmo
on
light.
base and plays really good defense.
Yeah, he's Brandon Nimmo light. That's right. Yeah,
plays really good defense in left field. But
you already have a good defender in center field, right?
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
It's right field that's been the hole forever, So that's the thing.
If you're bringing in Nimmo, are you paying him center field price to play a corner? Because I would actually take Robert in center over Nimmo.
For sure. Yeah, we would too.
Jeff, you said something that's interesting, and everyone's saying that I'm high and I'm mute and I can't talk right now, but I'm going to throw some baseball things at you. You're defending the Sox in a certain regard that they've like tried and they're spending money and you don't want them to invest in something that's bad. Do you think that potentially our owner Jerry Reinsdorf is saying, "Hey, listen, I can't give you any more money because you keep buying broken relievers"? You know, like what? Like you keep buying stuff that's bad. Like you're like, here's the money, and he's like, Rick Hahn comes back, he's like, here's the magic beans. These are gonna make things better. Like, is that like a legit thing? Do you think that could potentially be the reason? Because as you noted, the payroll is not that low. It's not nothing, but like it's just seems spent unwisely.
If that's the case and that's how you feel, then you should fire your baseball operations people. Like
he's notoriously loyal, Jeff. He's notoriously loyal.
If you don't trust them to go and spend money the right way, then and that's why you're not giving them money, then go find someone you trust and give them money. So no, I don't think that's what it is necessarily.
Okay. All right. Well, because I had to say that because I'm not going to have the cred that I have on the streets if I don't ask the hard hitting questions.
That's right.
One of my other questions was
what streets?
I'm from the streets. Main Streets of Sterling, Illinois. You probably don't know about it, but yeah, it's a little bit west of Naperville. The
looks mean.
Rick Renteria. Thoughts about Rick Renteria then getting Pedro, who I think Pedro is almost like a Rick Renteria type. Is that a fair comparison or is that an unfair comparison? No. Okay. So he's a lot. He's got.
¿Por qué hablan español?
Oh, you come on. So what? Okay, hey. So let's go with this. What was the rub on Rick Renteria? Why did he get cucked twice in the city of Chicago by both teams?
Because both teams fell in love with guys whose stories were better. Rick Renteria was solid, and I think the Cubs and the White Sox wanted spectacular.
Okay.
Now,
you think Pedro's spectacular?
Well, I mean, Pedro's a different story, though, is it not? Like
it is, but I'm just wondering.
Yeah, you're coming after the Tony La Russa debacle,
right?
Right, you got to put this back together.
Coming out of it,
So Tony La Russa was a spectacular move. I mean, it
was a spectacular disaster, but like, I mean,
we're in the valley now. He's got to bring it back together, kind of.
I just am worried because we feel, and I think I speak for the 108 podcasters here. Like Rick Renteria was just never given the tools to actually succeed and did pretty well with what he had. And I feel like Pedro is a step back into that direction of a guy that relates to the players, understands the team, and then is going to get more from these guys based upon just being able to coach, which I don't think Tony La Russa really did. Like, I just don't think he could coach anything out of these guys,
Yeah, I think relatability is a real thing. And it's funny you bring up loyalty with Jerry Reinsdorf because I think loyalty from player to manager and from manager to player, that those are the most important relationships in terms of loyalty in any organization. The player needs to feel like his manager's got his back, and the manager needs to feel like he has the player's support to make the decisions that he does. And when you get that symbiosis going, that's a beautiful thing. I think Rick Renteria had some of that. I think that if they had one more number one and number two, they had the type of success that they were hoping for or expected to, and Rick Renteria was not seen as this transitional manager. It's almost like what Buck Showalter used to be. Buck Showalter was the manager who took you to about the cusp, and then they bring in someone who's going to take them over the top. And that's I don't think Pedro Grifol is seen quite like that. And I don't know if that reputation, by the way, is fair for Rick Renteria. Like, he got jobbed twice in the same city.
Cucked, Jeff. He got cucked. He got cucked twice in the city of Chicago by both teams, North and South Side. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. We can mute him again, right?
Yeah, we can. Anytime you want, Jeff.
So Jeff, we were talking about, what free agents we would have wanted and things like that. And it part of it is like the things that the Sox needed didn't really match up with the free agents that were out there, right? Like they weren't going after Aaron Judge. You weren't going to get any of these shortstops that were on the market to move over to second base. So like that, there wasn't really a great match at second. And then one of the other things they needed is kind of shore up the back of the rotation. And so they're bringing Mike Clevenger, and I'm interested in the move. It's a guy that's a high risk, high reward kind of situation. And so the question here is which is more likely to happen? Is Clevenger going to throw 150 innings, or is Andrew Benintendi going to hit 15 home runs? Which would you see as a more likely scenario of happening for the Sox this year?
Benintendi, for sure.
Is that because you think the power can come back for him, or is it because you're suspect of Clevenger's ability?
I think it's because the power for 15 home runs has been there. He did it in, I think 17 was his first year with the Red Sox. I think he did it in 17. I think he did it in 18. He did it again. He might have had another in there. Like he was close. And then he did it again in 21 with Kansas City. So that's right. 3 times. Mike Clevenger. Let me look this up. When was the last time Mike Clevenger?
Once, I think once.
I think it's either 19 or 18. He had a 200 inning season, and then the next highest is like 126.
Yeah, 126. Yeah. And he was 114 last year. I don't think you sign Mike Clevenger thinking he's going to throw you 150 innings. You sign him hoping he's going to give you like a good 125, 130. And if you get more than that, then great.
Man, I would love a good 125 innings out of him. I think that's
bless up.
that'd be fantastic. Beef, I'll kick it to you if you have any other questions, or if you just want to get steamrolled.
No, I just want to thank Jeff for showing up, and I appreciate the banter online, Jeff. I love all that stuff. I like when we go at each other a little bit. You seem to get the best of me. I'm going to work on my material in 2023. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, is to get better at coming back over the top of you. I'm not going to go, since you never go nose, I'm not going height. Okay, just because I'm a foot taller than you, I'm not going in that direction. I will never do that on the internet ever, ever, ever.
That's fine. I'm 5'9", but I punch up.
Aim for the nose. Jeff, before I get muted again, because they just put another $5 in the super chat. What's the most ridiculous thing that you've seen a White Sox fan tweet, or what's the most ridiculous thought that you've seen the White Sox Twitter fan base say out there? Because you mentioned that earlier. I don't follow anyone on White Sox Twitter.
That's a good choice.
You said we're incredibly negative. I want to know what the negative thing was. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of that. Now we'll go to the personal
You know what the negative thing is? When Beef Love takes a picture of himself laying on his stomach. That's negative.
Face down and no ass.
I wasn't blessed there, okay? That's just the way it is. I got great calves, all right? No, my buttocks, not so much.
You do have nice calves. Jeff, what is one thing that we should know about you that we don't know? Like, let's just go personal, because I don't want to go about baseball anymore. But what is something that you do or enjoy, something about you that we should know that we don't know already?
I love cooking. I cook all the time. I'm very good at it. And if I didn't do this for a living, I would probably be a chef.
That's awesome.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm taking the Red Vines thing even more seriously. I'm going to go buy a bag tomorrow. It's happening.
Jeff, since we're DM buddies, maybe next time you played something cool, shoot me a picture. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to share it publicly, but I would love to see it.
I'll send you the Christmas. I made collard greens for the first time this week.
Oh,
and nice. I was, worried about cultural appropriation. Like, leave that to the South.
You were in Naperville. It's the hood, basically.
But, my niece requested that I make collard greens for the Christmas dinner, and let me tell you, they were spectacular. They were spectacular in the way that Joe Madden and Tony La Russa wish they could have been. Actually, Joe Madden kind of was.
He kind of did.
He had a moment.
Did win a World Series.
He got across the line. That's close enough.
It ended fine the way that Tony La Russa hoped he was going to be, because Joe Madden was there. That's fair.
Jeff, thanks so much. We've taken even more of your time than I suggested. Appreciate you coming on. Have a happy New Year, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Happy New
Have a
Year.
great rest of the show. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff.
Well,
he totally clicked out too. He's not even in the backstage.
So that happened. Hey.
Oh my God.
So little backstory for the listeners. Yeah, we made it through. We made it through. A little backstory for listeners. Our thought originally was to get Jeff on the Festivus show, but because that's kind of a longer show, we just couldn't get it to all line up that he's going to come on. So it was Treasy's idea. I said, ask him if he just wants to come on another show, and he he snap called that he was going to come on, and so we've been in touch. And then I didn't hear anything. It was radio silence. So I told the boys, I'm like, all right, I'm still dropping the StreamYard. Maybe he'll show up. That'll be beautiful. And he showed up right on time. Even kind of right exactly when I told him to show up. He was down there in the room behind there. It was beautiful.
Oh my God.
I'm so happy he showed up. That was awesome. I love it. I think we need a quick ad read from My Sock Summer though.
Oh man, hold on. I gotta find that. There we go. All right,
Whip that out.
Put it up. Inspiring moments fill the holiday season. At Mazda of Orland Park, we want to offer you a car buying experience that's equally inspiring as rewarding, with special incentives available during the Mazda Season of Inspiration sales event. From now until January 3rd, visit Mazda of Orland Park to test drive any Mazda SUV or car and learn more about the incredible offers going on during this Mazda sales event. Be inspired. Drive a Mazda from Mazda of Orland Park. One of the deals they're offering is no payments for 90 days when you finance a Mazda through Mazda Financial Services. And buddies, you can't beat that shit. Right now, Mazda of Orland Park has 63 new vehicles in stock, ready to sell to you, the 108 listener. Interested and want to know more? Head on over to www.mazdaoforlandpark.com and check out their available stock. Give them a follow on Twitter at ZoomZoomNation to get updates on all things Mazda. Mazda of Orland Park, home of the Zoom Zoom Nation. 8910 West 159th Street, Orland Park, 708-444-3200. Zoom Zoom.
All right. Now, fellas, so we had this setup. We had it set up. We didn't know if Jeff was coming, so we set up a show with Jeff and a show without Jeff.
Yep.
And we're at the 1 hour mark.
What do we want to do here?
I think what we could do here. So we wanted to do.
I'm gonna put my banter on right now.
We wanted to do some New Year's resolutions. We wanted to do it's end of the year. We're gonna wrap it up.
Great graphic. You can't waste that graphic.
We got some New Year's resolutions to do. So we each did the way we were gonna break it down was gonna be there was one for the White Sox, one for Sox Twitter, one for the 108, and one for yourself. Now, Jeff came on. He was incredible. We got an hour left, I'd say, to do this stuff. So just do two of them. So we're just gonna do two. You pick whichever ones you want.
No,
you're two best. You're two. No, we're not. You can't do real quick.
You do it real quick.
I'll do it real quick.
You wanted to give a quick response to Jeff, and it took you a minute and a half to the point when he had to ask if you were done.
Listen,
you can't do quick.
First of all, that's his bit. That's what he does. That's his bit. Second, y'all fucking try to monopolize Jeff Passan's time, and I can't.
I can say his name.
We had prepackaged questions
whatever
that everyone could opine on. Those were the questions we were planning to use.
I understand, but I wanted to at least throw something out there, like, hey, listen, the people.
So he's like, I don't care what those questions are. I got my own shit.
Not talking. I'm like, listen.
Cheers, Gordo.
If it didn't work, you would have kicked me out of this group a long time ago. Just trust me. Like, I would have been the guy gone. It's not like I own the PA and we don't have a PA in the band.
How about this? We'll start with the White Sox one, and we'll see how long that takes.
All right, I'll do a quick one.
And if that's quick enough, we'll move down the line. If not, I'm going to tell you to just choose one more. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Fine.
I'm gonna start because then I'm gonna put it on you because I'm gonna do. No, I'm gonna start because I'm gonna do it quick. Okay.
Fine.
Let me be quick.
Give me a quick one. But can we talk about it though?
You can. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I don't think anyone's gonna be in disagreement. The White Sox resolution, the first thing they need to do is control the things that they can control. So you can't control the team playing well, but you can control people getting into the stadium, getting people to a bathroom quickly, getting people a beer, getting people their concessions just in general. Like, you can control those things. Please control those things. That's all we need to do.
So you're going at the White Sox. You're saying the White Sox need to get better at these things. I like that. I think we've talked about those things for quite a bit.
Like, get me in for my bobbleheads. I don't give a shit if the team's any good.
Make the manager hand out the bobbleheads like the pilot hands out the
peanuts.
Yes. I want Brooks Boyer at gate 2 giving me my goddamn bobblehead when I walk in. Yes.
That sounds perfect.
Your brevity was astounding. I love it. Thank you. Beef, what do you got?
For the White Sox, and this is pointed at me, I'm going to embrace the fun of the game again, individual game style. Instead of brooding over the overall team success, I'm going to ignore that shit for a good chunk of the season. I'm just going to delve in on game to game, how enjoyable that is, pick out the things that I really like in the game, and also try to build our fortune in YouTube Shorts in the stadium.
So you're going back to our watching of games during the rebuild. Where it's like, I'm just here for this one game. Like,
give me that fucking joy today of whatever happens. About
this game. It's like watching a Bears game right now, right? Like, if they win, you're rooting for them to win, but if they lose, you're like, whatever, right?
I mean, the Palka walk-off against Cleveland, we were as excited at that in the rebuild year than we have of any other game we've been at. And so, like, I want to just recapture that for me personally.
Dude, I like Palka hit two home runs.
I'm not going to participate in this.
You're like, F you. Good for you. You like that for me, is what you're saying.
I love that for you. I love that for you. But I'm going to have money on the team, and I want them to win. I want them to win it all.
So, Chirizi, what's your resolution?
So I'm also going to embrace something. But you know what I'm going to embrace? I'm going to embrace the 0 second base strategy.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you why. For one, I don't really have a choice. But for two, I think that the position of second base is going to change drastically this year. So, I mean, I think that, obviously you still need to be a good hitter, things like that. But the fielding of the position is going to drastically change. 33% of the plays last season had a shift. 55% of the left-handed at bats had a shift on. Second base is going to be a different position. Yeah. There are going to be teams that figure out in the first half of the season that their guy who they've had at second base is not a good second baseman. And like that is something that while the Sox need to figure out what the fuck they're doing at that position, I don't think they're isolated in this. Like there are a lot of teams that are going to have to figure out what's going to happen at second base, because it's like I said, it's just going to be a completely different position. We're going to see we're going to see guys moved off second base that you wouldn't expect to be moved off second base.
Yep.
And I think that that's going to be interesting across the league. The other thing when I was looking all this data up, which was astounding to me, is that the Rockies just like never shift. Like if you look at the list of shifts, and it's like, oh man, some of these teams down here, they don't shift a lot, and then it like falls off a cliff to like the Rockies, like 11% of the time they shifted. I was
there's no reason to. You're at altitude. Everything goes in the outfield, and you need 8 outfielders to cover that outfield.
Right, but that's why I was surprised, because part of the shift and what's going away this year too, and this is why I think it's going to be way more difficult than we're giving credit for. It's not just the shortstop moving over. The second baseman cannot go in the outfield, right? Like these guys that can get more balls because they play way back and have a good arm, that doesn't play anymore, right? And so I would do that all the time with the Rockies. I would just have all the guys in the outfield just like backed up. But so like I'm wondering what that looks like across the league, and I kind of enjoy that. I know that I have no idea what it's even going to look like in Sox Park.
Your thought is it could turn out better than we think. Is the whole idea?
It could turn out better than we think. It also could be bad, but for everybody, right? Like you could have like 5 teams in the American League that go like this guy is not my kind of guy at second base.
I liked MSS doing a fist pump on someone agreeing with him on the game day experience being broken when we did a 2-hour podcast on us talking about it. Listen, MSS, you know that already, right? We all agree it's also broken.
Listen, I like taking laps, okay? So shut the fuck up.
Can we do some drinks? Get some drinks up here.
Why not?
Billy Wires sending $5 for MSS chatting Jeff to death. Yeah, you knew that was going to happen. I mean, that was bound to happen.
Cheers.
I had to get him in, Billy. So these guys,
you got to get your street cred. There's something wrong with that, MSS.
They tried to shut me out, and fuck that. Okay.
There's nothing
We
like
don't actually.
saying like we tried to shut you out when we gave you the agenda earlier in the week with the questions. And you contributed no questions,
Dude.
and then said, "Why couldn't I ask questions?"
That's not that. It's not that. I wanted to get my comments in, and you never let me get my comments in. It's fine. It's okay.
And Mailman, all right, just shut up.
Fuck,
Mailman Jack,
I
cheers.
Cheers, Jack.
Mailman Jack says, "Cheers, fellas! You won the podcast thing with Jim today." Oh, bless you. Thank you, Jack.
I appreciate it, and thanks for
Gene,
keeping
I'm
it
not
short
hammered
again.
yet. I'm getting there.
My
I'm
suck
not
summer.
hammered yet.
Doing a great job.
Also, I just wanted to point out that my resolution for the White Sox was about maybe 2 minutes, and Teresi just went on for 6. So it's okay.
Well, mine was interesting. So, and as Beef had noted, we did a 2-hour podcast on what you talked about.
Yeah.
So you just summed up a different podcast.
Yeah,
All right.
that's all. Nothing wrong with that.
So what's
I hate
my Sox summer? What is your one for Sox Twitter? We'll go through all of them now since you're
Sox Twitter.
be so
The first thing that I want to say, or the only thing I really want Sox Twitter to do, is to take a beat, breathe, and then react. Do not just react based solely on the first thing that you see. No, I mean, listen.
Be insane, Sox Twitter.
Listen, now I want people. I want people to like take a minute and think about what they're going to say before they say it, before they go on that date, before they declare some season is over and they're starting a new season. I want you to take a minute, think about what you're doing, and then do it. So that's what it is.
You know
That's
what?
I'm going
I'm going to disagree with you, MSS. I do that. I want to do that for myself. I want to take a beat.
No one else to do
I want to think about it. I want everybody else to be fucking nuts. Like I'm here for the chaos. Beef, where are you at? What's going on with you for Sox Twitter?
For Sox Twitter, I realize this, and I blame us, actually. So this is a note for us, but more so for me. We got to bring the fun back, okay? Last year, we let the team playing poorly get everyone down, and we cannot allow that. We got to keep the fun going. Absolutely. The team has sucked in the past, and we've had a lot of great fun out there. I'm going to start retweeting any crazy shit. If you got something funny, I'm not just going to hit the like button for you. Jimmy Vinicki, he was upset. I hadn't given enough likes. Fuck the like button. Retweets. I'm giving out retweets in 2023 season for any funny shit because we're going to keep this thing live on Sox Twitter.
Big
man, I could have done it. Right?
Did you do
good, right? I did that, yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
It's perfect. It was perfect timing.
It's like when they taught Coco sign language. I'm so proud.
Remember how much you hated me 3 minutes ago? Now you don't.
Oh, no. I'm such a proud papa right now watching you. so my one for Sox Twitter is I'm gonna do the dirty work here, guys. I'm gonna follow the money. I'm gonna dig into this, and I'm gonna find out if Jerry Reinsdorf owns the billboards that we're putting up these. I have no reason to believe he does, but it just seems like that's how it would work out for us. So I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna do what I can to track this down and figure out if he owns.
If Jerry's raking the GoFundMe billboard money, would be the most ridiculous thing ever.
You know how we're going to find out?
It's the most White Sox thing that could ever happen.
Here's how we're going to find out. It's going to be opening day or some season ticket holder party that we're at, and Ron Kittle's there. And Ron Kittle's going to be like, yo, I got a good story for you. And I'll be like, what's the story, Ron? And Ron's going to be like, you know who owns all those billboards that they put up about Jerry selling the team? Jerry just pocketed $5,000, of White Sox Twitter's money, telling him that he sucked. And he's still getting more money, and yet he's still not going to spend it on a free agent. Well, $5,000 won't get Jerry far, but still,
yeah, I don't.
That's right.
I know it's still not okay. All right, and wasn't.
I like
good.
it.
Right.
You should have just left it. You shouldn't even have mentioned it. You could have just went on and thought about the $5,000 second baseman that we would have. Well, we have one actually. So, all right, for the 108, my Sox summer. What's your resolution?
I said it in our group chat earlier today, and I'll say it again here live in front of other people. We're shooters, guys. We got to shoot. We got to try more things. We got to get crazy. We got to go out of this box and try to get into other ones. We are just like, sometimes we think, oh, hey, this is where we're at. We should just be here. No, we are shooters. We didn't get this way for playing fair, having fun, and just being cool. No, we got here being cutthroat and being total dickheads. And we need to remember that and continue to go and continue to climb on the backs of other people and other podcasts. Looking your way, Chicago Sports Pumps.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely correct. I love that one. And you've always been a shoot kind of guy. And both of you guys encouraged me to reach out to Jeff today, and that was a shoot moment. And we're like, well, let's see. What's the worst that could happen? All they can say is no. That's
he
it,
put the ball in his court,
know.
and he shot it, and he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I will know that MSS
job.
truly believes this when he gets a dispensary sponsorship. That's what I know.
I tried.
I
really
agree
hard.
with
I think you tried, but you didn't try hard enough.
You got to try harder. That's the point. Senior Sox in the comments says if you guys can get Jeff Passan, you guys can get Violet Myers. Look, I'm the next one I'm working on. K Dog in the comments told me it's in the DMs. Mike Adriano. We're gonna get him on here. We'll get him. He'll be the firstborn star that we get on the show. 100%.
I want J-Mac on before I want.
Hustle it up, baby. Hustle
You know
it up.
what?
There.
Maybe you do another 2-3 JMac updates, and maybe he'll take you serious. But right now, he's not taking you seriously.
I got
That's
you.
right.
I got you. I know.
Beef.
It's
What's
me. I'm
what's
slacking.
yours
I
for
got
the
you.
108?
I mean, mine is along a similar path, but it's legitimately do weird shit. Okay, we have pushed the boundaries, and I see a lot of other Sox podcasts and videos, and they do all the same shit. We're pretty good about delineating that we do something different while kind of doing the same thing. I want even more weird shit. I want to do a podcast off my deck where we're out there with live mics to no audience, just out there, whatever. And we don't even need to fucking record it. I don't care. I want to push the boundaries. You know, the fat guy wet t-shirt contest, MSS. Let's do it this year. I don't care if we get a sponsor. Let's just get a fucking garden hose in Nam's yard, and we'll put up. We'll have him build some shit, and then we'll do it there, and we'll just film it ourselves. Who gives a shit? We don't need a sponsor. Look, we've been trying to line up all these. Fuck the corporate sponsors. We just get out there and start killing, and let everyone notice us. Forget massaging, handshaking, and all that bullshit. I wrote a blog the other day. Almost none of you have read it, but it's about Pedro Grafal and all the weird things he said at the last part of this interview, and it was so hilarious that the man is maybe not from Earth. I kid you not. He didn't know he loves Fleetwood Mac. He knows no Fleetwood Mac song names. I was dying. His favorite snack was a protein bar. I was like, what the heck is going on in this interview? And I'm like, I can't believe no one's watched this. And I put in the blog. I thought, okay, good. Alex Fuse, who is the guy who did the interview. Maybe he'll get a lot of hits on this. None of you read it. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just going to do shit that I think is fun and entertaining and weird, and I'm going to keep pushing that direction. I think we all should.
Mine is along the same lines. And I've thought to myself, I don't blog enough. That's the thing that I've kind of gone away from because we've been doing a lot of the videos, we've been doing all this stuff, and so I'm editing all this stuff because you guys don't know how to use fucking apostrophes right. So
that's true.
I have to continually edit all your shit.
100%. We need an editor actually. That would help a lot for you.
I want to
do that a lot.
I need the anger that comes from editing you guys. That's the only thing that keeps me awake some days. So I want to blog more, but I think Beef, you kind of cover a lot of the Sox stuff really well, and I love that. In MSS, you got the porn stuff covered, so you're good.
Like the merchandise and all that stuff, the giveaways and all that shit.
This is something I'm gonna love doing, but I think I don't care if people don't like it. I'm gonna start blogging a lot more music stuff, and I'm gonna start blogging a lot more Star Wars stuff. And
I like it.
I'm also thinking after doing the Christmas weird ass theories, movie theories for the past 2 years. I might just start doing weird ass theories all year long. Because I was going there's nothing like going down a Reddit rabbit hole and then and just at the end of it trying to summarize your thoughts of what you just read. And so I think that the blog is the only way to do that. I think if I tried to do a video, I would cry halfway through it. So I'm not going to do
or
that.
Or come, who knows?
Well, it depends on the topic. It depends on the topic.
Maybe both.
The comments are blistering with thoughts on this. Roxy says, bring back the in-person episode. So, that is a thought. We've been trying to do that. We need to figure out the best way to do it on YouTube.
That will 100% happen.
That's going to come back and think about that. K-Dog says, time to bring back the 108 intern program.
I don't think it is.
Probably not going to come back. That might be one that we don't actually get to. White Sox Sal says, Billy Wire's Pool podcast. We do want to do a Sunday Soak from Billy Wire's Pool. We've talked about it in the past. We couldn't line it up this year.
Down there.
2023, I think we're going to try to line it up.
Yeah.
Brian S. says, you guys should bring back the Sports Writers show from the old school sports vision. Teresa and I have been talking about this for a while.
We've talked about this for a long time.
Yes.
I said that too.
Brian.
Yeah, you were. Yes, agreed. Yeah.
We'll talk out of school here, but 2 years 2 years ago when the Sox were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
There was actually supposed to be a show that was going to happen with us and Shane in the Score Studios.
Yep.
Where we were sitting around watching the game, eating sausage and peppers with that he would have made. Like that was if the Sox could have made it one more game, that would have happened. And then they didn't sniff the playoffs the next year. So like this shit has never happened. Will probably never happen. But yeah, the Sports Writers on TV thought has been something on my mind, and that was kind of like going to be our first version. We've done around the poker table with Sam Panayotovich, which was our closest nod to that. And me and Beef just did that again. And that I think that's dropping soon. But that was only
that might actually drop tomorrow. That's audio only.
Audio, so you won't get to see it. But yeah, we absolutely have considered that. The funny thing is, we like the biggest thing we were trying to figure out was like they all smoked cigars. What will we do? And that was where the sausage and peppers came from. We were replacing cigars with sausage, which sounds like a porno, but yeah. So that like I would love to do that as well.
I don't smoke anymore. I wish I did, but I don't.
We are not going to make more TikToks. That's not on the agenda.
Let me see. That's just for her material there.
All right. So now we're to the last one, which is a resolution for yourself. My Sock Summer, what's your resolution for yourself?
So, I mean, this might sound harsh. It might sound like I do whatever, but it's do less bullshit. I concern myself with things that are probably not that important. I need to get rid of those things in my life, personally, Sox-wise, blog-wise, 108-wise, whatever, and just focus on the things that are important. I seem to do a lot of bullshit, and I should stop doing that. I'm ending the bullshit in 2023.
Amen. I love that idea. That's a good general one for anybody. Everybody should focus in on what's important for you and cut out everything else, all the extreme.
I spread myself too thin for a fat guy. And as a fat guy, I shouldn't be that thin.
That's actually advice I give my wife before. It's like, bring it in. Don't always spread yourself that thin and try to do everything. Know your limits, cut things off. I'm lazy, so I'm pretty good at that.
Beef. What's yours?
Mine is to speak up more for myself. I think I get along, with and I just go along with the flow almost all the time. Pretty much in everything I do, work, if we go out to dinner, whatever. I'll give you an example, Treasy. I had a great idea when we were in Vegas and we were at Lavo. I said, I'm just going to eat appetizers the whole meal. And then I pussied out. I half did it, and we had all those appetizers, and they were great. And then I ordered an entree. I should have been a fucking punk. I should have got an appetizer for my entree and gone all the way with it. I got a problem with just going with it, just doing the thing I want to do. Just do the exact thing I want to do.
Beef, you showed us just enough. Showed us just the tip.
That's right.
And so we came back from that trip. So we did Lavo that night, and then the next night we did Delilah, right? And and that one too, we did just like a ton of appetizers and stuff. And me and Quincy were talking about, we're like, we just need to go out to dinner more often where we just go all appetizers.
Oh,
just
baby.
a full appetizer dinner.
Just all the little plates sounds wonderful. Yeah. That sounds great. Get a little wine or cocktails and little plates. That's it. That's all I need.
By the way, if for those of you who haven't been to the Lavo in Vegas, they have a 16-ounce meatball. It's incredible.
Oh, my God.
We ordered 2 for the table. And we were shouted down, Treasy. We don't need 2 of those. Man, those 2 meatballs were gone, and we should order 3.
Right.
Well, I could have just ordered 2 for myself and been like Luke in that one bit, like in the I Want to Rock video where he gets crystal balls. Like, so yeah, but
Ruhan Luke. Are you talking about Ruhan Luke in his video?
No, he wishes.
Luther Campbell, man, come on.
Yeah.
All right. Beef, I like that one. So I'll go with mine real quick here. And you guys have known me for a long time. You guys know me personally. A lot of people, listening and stuff, don't know me. They know the White Sox me. They know the out drinking me. They don't know the work Chirizi and business Chirizi. And I think it's time in my career at this point to start a Ponzi scheme. I think that's the next. That's the next step for me. I think it's all culminated in this moment of I need to start a Ponzi scheme. I've seen many documentaries on these. They seem to go well until they don't, but we'll figure that out when we get to it. But I think it's time. I think it's time for the Chirizi Ponzi scheme. It'll come to you in 2023. Please invest.
I look forward to it.
I like that the appetizer only thing is taken off, and it's like that's what tapas is. And I swear to Christ, Loaf, we've had tapas together.
Like, no, we have no, but that's okay. So that's crazy. Different, MSS. That's what the point of the meal is, right? But when you go some other place, that's not the point of the meal. So they want you to order the other stuff. I'm going to say, fuck that other stuff. Yep. I'm just getting these appetizs. I'm going to go in that direction. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, B-Web. Appreciate you, baby.
And B-Web, you can always be our intern. Just check in with us every so often. You know, it used to involve like going to bum cigarettes for me. You don't even have to do that anymore. So it's just like, hook me up with a good bottle.
My first investor, Senor Socks. Cheers, my friend.
That guy has no idea what he's doing with money. He's just throwing it away. You should see what he spends.
And this is what we all know, but no one wanted to say.
That's 100% true. Boys, I got to take a quick break because I'm out of wine, so I'll be right back.
Hey, you know what? I think we're going to hear from you right now.
Yeah. So do it. I'm going to go too. I'm going to be right back also.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us on a live stream right now and haven't subscribed, make sure you tickle the undercarriage of that subscribe button and get on board. If you have already subscribed and are watching the show, talking smack about MSS's internet and generally meat-gazing at Treasy E and I, please smash that like button in the face. If you are listening on the podcast feed and have never enjoyed the eroticism that is the YouTube version of this show, come to youtube.com/FromThe108 and hit that subscribe button. Our previous goal was 1,000 subscribers. We're currently at 1,100 plus. That's going to allow us to make minimum wage for about 1 hour per month if we do a full podcast schedule. You just can't beat that. So get your friends, your family, your dog, everyone to subscribe and allow the 108 to fulfill the dream of becoming YouTube thousandaires. I love you.
Oh, beautiful, Beef. Beautiful.
It's true. I really do love all of you.
I got to mute my sock Summer because I don't know what he's doing with the camera off. I'm just put him on mute for now.
It's probably a smart thing to do.
Because I assume he's trying to catch up to you in mid-show shits. Like I think that's where what he's doing right now. So like I don't want to catch I don't want to catch a Frank Drebin here.
Some grunting. Treasy, where do you think he's at? Like I said him at 4. I assumed he's at 1.5. Where do you actually think he is as far as like mid show shits during the career of our podcast?
So what are we at like 150?
We're at a little over 160 of the ones we count. There's other ones that are like live shows, fests, etc.
Well, I mean the live shows he definitely shits at every one of them. Like it's like
the in-persons is what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. We go do a show. We go do a show at Wings and Rings. He's blowing up the bathroom. So like I would put 160 shows. I would say 3% of the time he's shitting. So let's put him in like 4 to 5 shits.
Oh, so you think we're not going to?
You're probably
I got 4 greasy shits. I know that.
Probably
never. I have never pooped during a podcast.
What did you just do?
I took a long ass piss. I mean,
Roxy wants to know if they're nervous shits. Roxy, not always. Sometimes nervous shits, not all. When Lucas Giolito was pitching this past year, those were nervous shits. But otherwise, just maybe too many White Castles.
Listen,
they need to get out of me.
There's a certain thing that's been going on in my life. I wish I could poop more. I wish I could get good full releases. Even if it's during
I don't
the
like
podcast,
to hear that.
I'm
sorry about that.
I wish.
I'm sorry about that. We'll get you Brand Flake sponsorship.
Help me out. Yeah, that's what everyone kept saying. Hey, just eat a Fiber One bar. And I was like, I'm driving 2 hours back to Chicago. I don't need to be pulling over and like.
Comment of the show right there.
Wow. Not can't go after the sponsors.
No.
All right.
You son of
fellas. Last show of the year.
Yes.
We got to bring this back to end the show. Got to bring it back.
Baby.
Last call.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
for alcohol, friends.
Last call.
Last call.
I love last call.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to start this off because I'm going to get weird, and then we could go from there, right? Like so. One of your favorite directors, Beef, Ruggero Deodato, he passed away this week. You have no idea who that is, of course.
No, I do not.
But so he directed a movie called Cannibal Holocaust, right? And this movie is fucking out there, right? It's the movie's nuts, but it ended up getting banned in a bunch of countries. This is like I want to say it's the 70s, maybe it's early 80s, but it's a while back. And it got banned in different countries. But this dude actually went on trial because the some of the scenes in the movie are so graphic that they thought that he actually killed the actors. So
Oh wow.
he had to like show up to court with the actors who they thought were
make sure
murdered
they're
and be
alive.
like, these people are alive. Like, I did not murder them. And it's like he's considered like the father of found footage, because that's what the Cannibal Holocaust is kind of, you know, the premise is. It's like this found footage of these two documentary people. It's a long, weird.
So it's like Blair Witch, like the similar idea to Blair Witch, right?
It's different. So you would think it's like that, because like they find the footage and you think like, oh, they were murdered by these cannibals, but it turns out they were just going to like these places with indigenous people and like killing them on film, and recording it themselves. So like that's
like a
the
turtle,
premise.
right?
So he actually did get
one thing that they did
get arrested for that.
Yes.
So that's the animal cruelty part, and that's why
Yeah.
you see like those things like no animals were harmed in this, because he really fucking harmed them.
Oh, okay.
But nevertheless, one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
So my question to you guys is, what's the most fucked up movie you've ever seen? And honestly, this is not my most fucked up, but this is like, what is the most fucked up movie you've ever seen?
I think it's weird that you said this at the beginning of the podcast. You're like, neither of you have seen this movie, and I've seen the movie. Because
That's awesome.
I remember specifically because I know it was like one of those like, oh, this is like a banned everywhere movie. You can't see it, you know, kind of deal. And I remember watching it and going, no, this isn't what I thought it was. Like, and like, but then also thinking that poor turtle got killed, like, and they fucked that turtle up. Don't get me wrong. So I mean, it's a little messed up. But we talked early too in one of the movies that you brought about, and I saw the theatrical release, which was different than the DVD, but it was Requiem for a Dream, and that was a fucked up movie. But it wasn't, because it ends in one of those like those things like it's not like a good ending, right? Like you have it and you're like, oh man, you walk out, you're like, all these people just are going to go on and live terrible lives. But it probably wasn't the most fucked up movie I saw. The most fucked up movie that like comes to mind when I think about fucked up movies, and I know it's cliche, but Vulgar the Clown from View Askew, which is like, and I don't know if, I'm sure people know about it and they watch it. Yeah, and Baloney's right. Kids was fucked up also. That was one of those.
That's a good call, actually. Yeah.
Where you're like, okay,
Sal has put the most fucked up movie there is in there, but like I've never seen it. Like I heard what it's about and I was like, I can't.
No thanks.
But anyway, but Vulgar the Clown is this clown that is like trying to do, you know, jokes, and he's an alcoholic. He has problems, and then he gets ass raped, and then it's not good.
It is. That is a terrifying movie.
It's not good, and it is scary, and you're just like, oh, I just watched that, and I feel dirty. I need to go take a shower, preferably without a clown. And clean all this stink off me. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Vulgar the Clown. It's the most fucked up movie I've seen.
So Roxy asks, is Vulgar worse than Terrifier? I've not seen Terrifier, but I know what Terrifier is about. I think they're a different type of movie. I think Terrifier is a more like just a straight up like scary, like gory movie. Vulgar is more of like a mind fuck movie, yes, where like it's like there is some like really
seems too real.
There's some scenes that are just like really graphic, but like at the same time it's mostly like, oh my god, the anguish of what's going on for this guy's life is just crazy.
Brian, that's my number 2. Just so you know, that was gonna be my number 2. Another just fucking mind fuck.
Beef, where are you at on this? Because I know,
boys, I avoid these type of movies on purpose. I like, because I am a glass half full guy, even though my sucks number tried to MF me. I do not like to see the kind of worst sides of things, but a horror movie that kind of fucked with me a little bit. I've only seen it recently. It's actually a movie that my wife had seen. She did not want to let my daughter watch it, and eventually did let her watch it. And it was my first viewing too. Is the movie The Ring. Because of all the background stuff in it, and it's weird and like the dad, we'll call him the dad, just like electrocuting himself like in front of the like there's a lot of weird stuff in there. And it's like, I don't like those types of movies to begin with. I don't mind horror movies, because most horror movies are kind of hokey and they have some violence and all that, whatever. But like the personal sorrow, the suffering, like I just hate all that stuff. And so that's as far as I can't go as deep in the depths as you guys can with these movies.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that comes from like, yeah, Human Centipede is just fucked up. Like that is just a fucked up movie too. I would say Beef, like you're talking about The Ring, and like that comes from Japanese horror, and like it's still one of the movies where I was like most scared of a character is still Audition. Audition is just a wild ass movie, and Takashi Miike, I'll probably saying that wrong, is the director, and he directed the movie that I will count as my most fucked up movie, which is Visitor Q. I'm not even going to try and explain it. It's described as an erotic black comedy horror film. So if you want to look this up on Wikipedia, it gives the whole breakdown of what happens in the movie. It is so thoroughly fucked up. And it's one of those movies where you're like watching it and you're like, did we skip ahead? Because with no explanation, something more outrageous is happening. And you're just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And like you are confused and disgusted like throughout this whole movie. I don't know why I ever watched it, but I did. And it makes my number one.
Now they're lighting me up in the comments that I don't watch these disturbing movies.
So Sal mentioned,
deservedly so.
Sal mentioned Ichi the Killer, and Ichi the Killer is by the same director that did Visitor Q and Audition. I think Visitor Q's more fucked up.
Did you now like Squid Game? Did you guys watch Squid Game?
I did not watch Squid Game yet.
I did not.
And that's like
I saw a couple episodes. It's pretty fucked up. Yeah,
that's like those that guy that you just said, the Itchy the Killer guy. It's like that, but light. It's very light, you know. But you're like, this is a little fucked up. And then at the end, you're like, oh, this is really fucked up. But it's better than like some of the other ones. Loafer, you want to go? Or do you want me to finish? You want me to go next?
I'll go next.
I knew we couldn't end on mine. That's why I was.
I got a lighter one right
we
here.
have to come back from this.
Let's end with yours, MSS, just because I think it's the best one to end with. So mine is this. I actually just recently finished watching the Shaq documentary on HBO Max. And I highly recommend it for anyone that's around our age that was an NBA fan in the 90s and 2000s. And most people are Jordan fans. So like Shaq was coming of age around the time that the Bulls were winning all those championships and Jordan was. And then he kind of went after that and was winning a bunch. And so what I thought would be interesting for you guys, I want you to help me guess. Well, I'll know the answers. You guys will guess. Is the Lakers had 3 championship teams in a row. I want you to guess players that were on those teams. Because back in the 90s and 2000s, old players would rotate over to teams, and you have unlikely folks on different teams. So I want to go through each of the 3 teams. We're going to go no longer than like a minute trying to guess some of the players that were on each of the teams.
So what you're saying is there's 3 teams that got 3-peats.
No, just the 3 Lakers teams that won titles. 3 years in a row. 2000, 2001, 2002, those teams. I just wanted you to guess who is not Shaq or Kobe on these teams. And I want to see how many of these guys you can name.
I'm just gonna go right off the top.
Fisher.
And every team I'm going to guess Robert Horry.
That's going to be correct.
Robert Horry is right. Yeah.
So 99 2000, Robert Horry is definitely on there. Who did you say?
I said Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher is also on this team. Yes.
Yeah.
Both those guys came off the bench. They were bench players on this team.
Who else is on these?
Former
teams?
Bull. That was a big piece of a championship team on the former Bulls. Second three-peat.
No, he didn't make it. I would say Rodman, but he didn't make it.
No. This is a guard.
B.J. Armstrong.
No.
No.
Second three-peat.
Ron Harper.
Ron Harper is correct. Yeah, Ron Harper was on these teams.
Yeah, you shouldn't have given clues though, because I would never have gotten Ron Harper.
Well, I don't want to go too long with it. I just want to give you guys a chance to get. This guy was on Oz. Treasy should know this.
Yes. Rick Fox.
Rick Fox was on this team. Yeah, Rick Fox was on this team. Another guy who's on this team. You guys are not going to get this one, but AC Green was on this team. Was AC Green? You think still a virgin in 99 and 2000.
Was not on that.
I hope
He was on that team, MSS. He was a starter on that team. He started all 82 games on that team. I kid you not. I was shocked to see it too. He was 36 years old. Him and Ron Harper were both 36 years old.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
they were both old men starting on this team.
Let's
Absolutely.
take some guesses from the comments and see what
Lamar
we get.
Odom is definitely not correct.
No Odom. Tyronn Lue is correct. Great job, Roxy. Tyronn Lue is
What about-
I don't know
definitely on this team.
if this is
Nick Van
Gary
Exel?
Payton or Walter Payton that he's guessing.
It's neither. Peyton is neither of those. Nope. I'm trying to look through the comments to see if there's anyone gets any of these other ones.
We got
I
Nick
think
Van
Horace
Exel.
Grant-
No Nick Van Exel. Nope.
Horace Grant was on like one team though.
Lamar
I
Odom.
don't think he was on them.
No Lamar Odom on that team. Nope.
Wow.
So a big name
Tommy
that's missed. Glenn Rice was a big name
Oh, wow.
miss.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Another known player, Brian Shaw. John Spider Sally, whose nickname was the Tripod.
Yeah.
Man.
He was old too, though. Treasy, he's 35. And then I don't know if you guys knew this, but back when David Stern was the commissioner of the NBA, which was like mid 80s to like 2014, I think is when he retired. He had this stipulation that you couldn't win the NBA title unless you had one really tall, goofy, awkward white motherfucker. And that guy on this team was former Bull Travis Knight. He was on this squad, totally useless, but you need that in order to win the title. You're not allowed to win the title otherwise.
That's
All right,
true.
let's go to
It was also
2000.
Phil Jackson. Yeah.
Oh, he's the head coach. 2001 team. Go.
Robert Ory.
Robert Orr is correct.
Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher's correct.
Rick Fox.
Rick Fox correct.
AC Green.
AC Green not correct. He's out of here by then.
This one, maybe Lamar Odom.
Light, right.
This one, no
Lamar never,
no Lamar Odom.
Lamar was
Oh,
on
these
the second
Clippers,
after
right?
the three
These
fifths.
Clippers.
Yeah, MSS is correct. Lamar Odom is in the next when Kobe wins it without Shaq is the Lamar Odom team. So
Yep.
that's absolutely correct. Looking through the comments, no one's got any of these guys. So Ron Harper is also still here. You know what former Bull ends up latching onto this fucking team? I feel like he was just following Shaq around
Chief.
the NBA.
The Chief.
Horace Grant.
Oh,
It was Horace Grant.
Okay.
And on the
All right.
last team, there was Horace
He won
Grant.
one. He won one. Yeah.
Yeah, he was on. Yeah, so he's on this team, but he was also on the Magic team that when they beat the Bulls when Jordan came back out of retirement.
Didn't win a world championship then though.
No, they did
That
not.
was Horace's world championship.
That's correct. And then also Tyronn Lue is on this team. Who did you say? MSS?
Harper.
Ron Harper on
Harper
this
on?
team. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Brian Shaw is also on this team again. Interesting name that's on here is Baby Jordan, Isaiah Ryder. Oh, on this team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then they had to fill out.
Wait. I
go
thought
ahead.
Baby Jordan was Harold Miner.
Oh, this Harold Miner.
Yeah,
You're right.
I mean,
You're thinking J.R. Ryder, though. J.R. Ryder is, right?
Yeah, but Isaiah Ryder's yeah. He anyway, the who that's a good guess in the comments. And
The
I don't
Mitch
think it's
Richmond
this
one?
team. The Mitch Richmond one is for
Dwight
2001, 2002. Excellent call by Southside Mofo. That's a good one. Yeah, Brian, you're correct. The guy who filled out goofy white motherfucker on this roster in order to allow them to win a championship was Mark Madsen. So I know there's video of him trying to dance right in the celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. Chris Mullen could play. I'm talking a guy who can't play.
I'm saying at that point though, Chris Mullen might have been drunk 24/7, so maybe he was still goofy. You know, who knows?
Could be. All right, last team, 2001, 2002. Mitch Richmond already guessed. You guys want to take a few more shots here?
I mean, 2002, obviously, Robert
Nick Van
Ory.
Exel, was he on that team?
So Robert Ory is on here? No,
Yeah.
Nick Van Exel. Nope.
Derek
Robert Ory's
Fisher.
correct. Derek Fisher's correct.
Rick Fox.
still
Rick
hanging
Fox
around?
also correct. Yep.
Ron Harper. We said that.
I mean,
No
they
Ron
kept
Harper.
it
He's
sounds
out by
like
then.
they
No
kept
Ron Harper.
four.
They kept a lot of the crew. I mean, it's kind of interesting. They kept a lot of the bit players. It must have been everyone got along with each other. So
Was it Gary Payton came in later? He wasn't on that.
correct. He was after this when it all dismantled. When it all kind of fell apart. That was Gary
year
Payton
was
and Karl
this?
Malone.
2001, 2003, right?
This is the 2001, 2002 team.
Okay.
So 2002 champions.
Yeah,
the aforementioned Mitch Richmond. Here's a name from the past, Treasy. Lindsey Hunter. The only Bulls
yeah.
game that we went to where we saw Jordan play,
funny? Senor
Lindsey Hunter
Sox?
outscored him.
Senor Sox put
Nice
that
ball.
guess in.
Wow, good job.
Nice ball, Senor Sox. Lindsey Hunter, correct.
Gordo's asking Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones. No, Eddie Jones not in this. Someone in the comments.
Houston?
Medvenko, yes, yeah, yes, and actually Stanislav Medvenko was on this team, and he was on the 2000-2001 team. So just another nameless, faceless player. So that's
Phil Jackson. Good job, Dougie. Yes, Phil Jackson was there. He was still
so
there.
Devin George, a young Devin George, was on this team also.
Oh yes,
He only started one game, but he came off the bench for a full 82 games. So like interesting rosters all along the way. But sometimes you forget these three-peats, how colorful these rosters get. So it was just fun to go back and watch that. Obviously, nothing compared to Last Dance, but it was still nice and fun to see Shaq's upbringing, kind of how it all worked along, and then how he was kind of like the first big man to be a pitch man.
Yeah,
to be one who was out there promoting himself, you know, and
He
was really the first.
He promotes everything.
They go into that, Treasy, how he advertises for absolutely everything, and they make fun of him in the documentary about how he's like, but he's just like, I'll just take whatever money, you know, I'll do whatever.
I love that comedian that says that Shaq answers the phone, I'll do it.
The general, though, he makes a lot of money for, which is like it's cheesy and it's campy, but I think he does pretty well on
My Sox Summer. They implied, but didn't say exactly, that when he goes into these partnerships, he's getting stake, he's getting ownership, he's getting points, not just like here's a check. He's getting a piece of the business, and he even mentioned he's on board of directors in some of these places. So like he's getting himself in their real partnership. So
he goes in and learns, about what they're
basically
doing.
Said like he kind of cut the thing for LeBron and Steph Curry and all these guys that are have all these products and stuff. He was kind of the Jordan was doing it, but Jordan was doing it with Nike basically, or with Gatorade. Where Shaq was kind of like, this is I'm an owner kind of thing, and then that's where the new group they own stuff now.
Shaq and Peyton Manning making a bunch of fucking Papa John's pizzas just kind of makes me sick. But
Ashton Kutcher does that too, right? Like, didn't he get vested in stuff that he like went out and supported? Yeah. So like it's kind of he started the model, and then Shaq took it next. Is it my turn?
It is your turn, Emma.
All right. So, hey, listen, if you don't like listening to me talk, you might want to shut it off now because I'm going to talk for a while. This week, we're getting into White Sox Twitter starting to freak out about things. They started freaking about like all sorts of different shit. Listen, I'm a little drunk, okay? This is where we're going. Let's get ready. For what they got freaked out about this week, seating charts, folks. We have a seating chart that came out, doesn't have any prices on it. We don't know what it is, but it's like very colorful, and there's a lot of different tiers. Our good friends at Sox Machine devoted 15 minutes to it today. They talked about, hey, this is confusing. This is that. This is this. We're looking at it. I'm looking at it, and I'm going, huh. Our good friend Bruhan Luke says every MLB team is doing this, and I said, you know what? My Sox Summer doesn't just take anybody's word for, like it's gold, right? So I go out and I gotta go do the work.
Do the work.
Go do the work. So I go, let's start with the AL Central. Is there teams in the AL Central that have a multicolored seating chart? Oh yeah, there's the Royals. Look at this shit. And we're talking, and I don't know if you can see it at home, but like right here, I think I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? I don't know. Maybe not. No, I can't.
I don't think so, but you see the bifurcated pink and the blue. Treasy, I think when we went, we sat in the light blue there.
I mean, you could focus on the main inner circle there, and you could see that there's multiple colors per section.
And I'll say this, Treasy and Loaf, if we even go into upper deck, the first 10 rows in the upper deck, maybe 20 rows seem to be a different color than the back. So yes. I'm just saying, so that's in Kansas City, and they suck. So like they have it now. Yes. So that's one. All right, let's look at the next guy. Oh, Comerica Park. Oh my God, look at the kaleidoscope of colors for the Detroit Tigers up in Detroit, who can't sell a ticket because if you go to their stadium, you might be killed. You might get killed for a cheaper price. I'm just saying, look at the upper deck behind home plate. There are 3 fucking price tiers in the upper deck directly behind home plate. And then if you move down, let me see what I can do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 7 price levels between home plate and the top row of the upper deck. Okay. All right. Well, that's 2. That might not be all of them.
Lucky guess, MSS. Lucky finds here.
Guess, okay. Lucky guess. Let's see what our Minnesota Twins brethren are doing. Oh my God, look at that. Holy shit. I mean, my God, there are two in the upper level. There's two in what I'm assuming is a club level-ish type thing. Okay, but not the suites, because the suites are all gray, right? You have a seat in front of that. Then you have the yes, the right behind home plate are one color, but I bet it's a shitload of money and no one sits there, or it's corporately owned, whatever. I see a lot of different stuff. It looks like Neapolitan ice cream. Okay, all right. So now we're three. We're three. Okay, so let's go to the one team that like is really good, won the division last year. Cleveland Guardians. They don't do this, right? They don't do this. Oh, yes, they do. Oh my God. Look at all the fucking colors, all the separations in the sections here. I mean, there are 3 sections directly behind home plate. I know in Cleveland, I think you can sit in dugouts like right next to the dugout. So, I mean, that's a whole different world. But
you can smell Tito's farts if you'd like to.
Right. So, all right. So, folks, maybe this is just an AL Central thing. Okay. Maybe the AL Central is like, okay, we're just going to have these multi-tiered ticket programs, and that's how we're going to do things, and we're going to try to sell. Let's go to we're going to go there pretty soon. We're going to go to Cincinnati on the next 108 road trip. Let's see, do they have tier ticketing? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now listen. If you look behind first place, there are 3 motherfucking tiers right there, just right there. I mean, there's some huge red spots, but there are also there's a little cucumber there. There's a little cucumber rind before you get into the
there's a little guacamole right in there at the top. Yeah, I see it.
Before you get into the full on watermelon, that is definitely the rind. Okay. Now, and you're saying, okay, my sack summer. This is ridiculous. Those are premium seats. I understand why they do that. No. Look in the way upper deck. There's tri-level ticket pricing in the upper deck. I mean, they're like total shit seats. Okay, and they're just gonna charge you more. Okay, so again, you're saying, okay, my sex summer, you're just pulling shit out of your ass. Like you're just like pulling things out just to like make it look like this is happening. Let's look at who wants to go to see the Baltimore Orioles play. Not many people.
I'll pass.
Not many people, right? So you feel like, okay, Baltimore Orioles, 100%. They don't have tier pricing. Guess again. Look at these tier pricing going on with the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, upper deck seats are tiered price. That is fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Okay, why?
So I've been to this park, MSS, and so you see
anybody going up there?
You see the part like where it looks like, oh, this is a whole different section around the top of the first level. No, that's just the seats in the back, and those are cheaper. That's where I sat, because you are in a strange situation. You got you got an overhang, but it's like over your head this high. So like it's a weird thing. But like, those seats are cheaper, but like they're boxed in, but there are definitely different prices if you go down the row, like all the way down, like multiple different prices.
So Treasy, I'm going to humor you. Okay, let's go with the team that has like a couple players that everybody wants to see. Let's go to the Anaheim Angels, or the Anaheim Angels of California, Los Angeles. Okay, let's go to those guys and let's just see. Obviously, they sell a ton of tickets. They don't have to tier price. They're just going to make every ticket the same price because in that section, because they have Shohei Ohtani, right? Yeah, I think that's right. You're gonna cut that, make that into a thing. Yeah, Mike Trout, that guy, the Trout guy.
You got that one right.
Oh my God! Let's take a look now. If you go directly behind home plate, like there's tier ticket pricing in the same sections. You go into the upper deck, you're like, hey, I think those are suites. No, they're not. Those are actually the front half of the sections. Okay, they're a little bit better, I guess. They're not as multicolored, but still multicolored. A lot of levels, a lot of tier pricing going on, and that is not the Angels. That's the Angels.
Yes.
Here's the Angels.
That was perfect.
Here's the Angels. That's 100% tiered. Okay?
Yeah, that's very tiered. I see a lot of multicolors in there.
Listen, if this was your ice cream selection, you would have 15 different flavored ice creams in one box. Okay, it is a lot. There's a lot going on here, and I don't even have time to talk about it, especially because I fucked it up. Now, let's do one more. Let's go to the team that nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to go to this place. Everyone's like, the park is great. It's awesome. The team fucking sucks balls. Pittsburgh Pirates. They have tiered pricing also. I mean, you're looking at this thing and you're saying, hey, this is the suites. It's not the suites. I know I just used that line. It's not hitting home like it would have if we had gone on like originally the right way. This is the Pittsburgh Pirates seating charts. Now, why is this important, fellas? Why is this important? Because the White Sox are doing something that every fucking major league team does. And we do it. Most times people are saying, why don't the Sox do what every other major league team does? Sox do it, and people go, why the fuck are the White Sox doing this? Folks, this is just what it is. Okay? This is the future. Tap Doc Brown on the shoulder. Get in the fucking DeLorean. This is the future. This is the way it goes. Now, one thing that hasn't been considered by all the naysayers on White Sox Twitter, or I haven't seen it anyway. Maybe it's been considered, and if you did, maybe, okay, whatever. Maybe the ticket prices in the back of the section are going to be cheaper than the ones in the front of the section. Maybe you're going to save a little money and go in and by buying the back of the section versus the front of the section. And then you can do what White Sox fucking fans have done since the beginning of time. Move the fuck down. Okay? No one's going to sit there. Everyone's going to buy the cheap seats, okay? And then you can move the fuck down. Unless it's the Yankees or some opponent that everyone wants to see. And then you won't. And then you're going to have to pony up, you cheap-ass motherfucker. Okay? That's all I have to say. It's been a great year. 2022's been fun. Listen, guys, let's do this for another 6. All right? And then we'll figure out some new shit to do. All right? Peace.
I had some thoughts on that, but I'm not going to do it.
Go ahead.
I just love the way you closed it, so we're going to we're just going to get to the thank yous. We're just going to get to the thank yous. Beef, who are you thinking this week?
I mean, I have no choice but to thank my man Jeff Passan for coming through in the clutch. I appreciate it. Like, our online banter and relationship is fun. We DM a little bit. He's a really nice guy and always has been to the 108, and he's very fun. And appreciate him coming through on and fulfilling his word that he would come on and hang out with us a little bit. And he was a good sport, man. Played back with us, kind of understood the bit, got into it right away. Some great White Sox talk there. In my second breath, I want to do a little promotional item. The unnamed Beefloaf Solo Show will start Monday, January 2nd. We're going to be 6 o'clock on Mondays mostly. Treasy, you'll be the first guest.
I got bumped.
And I'm not going to let you know the topic because I haven't even told Treasy what the topic is yet. But that's going to be mainly a baseball show. It's going to be short, 20, 30 minutes max.
That's why you got bumped.
I'm going to have a guest almost every time. Because one of the ideas here is to scoop out some White Sox out of this show so this show can be more of what it belongs, being goofy as fuck, and blobbing it somewhere else. And so that's why we're trying to do it. So we'll see how this works out. Get my sea legs hosting. So Jeff and the audience for watching on Monday.
Brian, cheers.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely big thanks to Jeff. My Sox Summer, who you got?
I'm going to thank our good friends, Yelpers, Foe, Fids, Brian, and Mr. Hand over there at the Tainted Glove. They sent me this beautiful Christmas card, which was attached to a beautiful bottle of wait a minute. What? Single barrel 4 roses. I appreciate that, fellas. That was very nice and totally unnecessary, but I want to thank you guys. The friendships that we have with you guys is awesome. The continually having interactions with you is great. And plus, I like that you're stealing our best ideas, the Christmas card, and keeping it going because we didn't do it this year and we haven't done for the last 2 years, but thank you very much. Chorizo.
Oh, that was very heartfelt. I want to thank everybody who's listened to the show this year, watched us on YouTube. The YouTube stats are great. We're we're closing in on, and this is a weird stat that I saw today when I was looking at what we've done this year, closing in 10,000 hours of people watching us, which is just a strange,
it's insanity.
a strange thing to think about for a single year. But like I was very excited to see that, and I do thank you guys genuinely that you've invested that much time in watching us do this. So cheers to all you. Thanks to everybody who's listened all year. We really appreciate all you guys do for us, and we can't wait to see some of you at 108 Day, and then the rest of you as the season rolls out. We will see you in the
108
stand.
Day Part 2.
I can't wait to see everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thanks, everyone.